I gunned the engine of my motorbike and weaved recklessly through the late-night traffic. My phone was clenched tightly in my hand, the GPS on it, my only guide. I was close, so close. But suddenly, a car door flung open right in my path, and there was no time to swerve. I crashed into it full tilt, the world spinning as I was thrown to the ground. My bike skidded away as I scrambled across the road for my phone. Miraculously, it was still intact. The driver of the car I'd crashed into ran over to see if I was okay, but I shoved him aside and leapt into his car. "I'm sorry! I need this!" Then I slammed the gas and drove off like a maniac. The GPS was directing me to an abandoned mall building, which was close now, but the traffic was choking the last block. I ditched the car and started running towards it, my chest burning with each breath. I burst into the building, taking the stairs 2 at a time. Reaching the 3rd floor, I threw open the door to find nothing. I'm here at the mall building on the 3rd floor. Where's Carly?
Mall building, you said? Oh no, she's at an abandoned warehouse. Looks like you got the wrong location.
Then send me the right location, now!
What's the point? There's just 2 minutes till the building goes boom. Actually, if you look out the window, you'll get a pretty good view. What a pity. She really did seem like a lovely young woman.
The line went dead. I sprinted back down the stairs, trying to think about my next move, when suddenly a loud explosion pierced the night. Far in the distance, a fireball lit up the sky. The warehouse. No. Carly. Hi, my name is Kyle. Let me tell you everything leading up to the worst night of my life. I was 15 the first time my world turned upside down. I was fast asleep one night when Mom shook me awake, throwing my things into a suitcase.
Kyle, it's happening. We have to go, now.
My dad was an undercover agent, and he told us that we might have to leave our home for good one day, and I just wasn't expecting it to really happen. We left that night without Dad, flying halfway across the world to start our lives in a country where everything felt unfamiliar and cold. Days turned into weeks, and Dad didn't come. But soon, a postcard started appearing at our doorstep every month. It was always blank, but at least we knew he was okay, and we could keep hoping he would come to us. But he never did. And by the time I was in law school at 20, those postcards were my only connection to him. Then suddenly, they stopped coming too. Every time I thought about why, I felt sick to my stomach. One night, I was heading home from a late-night study session when suddenly 2 figures emerged from the shadows. Before I could react, strong hands gripped my arms, pulling me into the back of a car. Someone pressed a strong-smelling cloth to my face, and almost instantly, I blacked out. When I finally came to, I found myself in a dim room, facing a man and a woman.
Kyle, don't panic. We're not gonna hurt you. We worked with your father.
The 2 of them explained everything. Dad's cover had been blown during his assignment, and he had to go into deep hiding. The person he was investigating was William Finch, a businessman and philanthropist on the surface, but a dangerous arms dealer behind closed doors. But we can't just let this guy get away after all the years we've spent chasing him. Our covers may be compromised too. That's why we need you, Kyle. They wanted me to infiltrate the dealer's circle and be a part of his entourage. They'd set me up with a new identity as a bodyguard, working in a private security firm so I could get hired by him. And they would make sure my records would pass any background check.
It's the only way to gather the evidence we need to take him down, and for your father to be safe and free for good.
I was just a law student, missing his dad. But if this could finish what he started, how could I say no? So after 2 months of intense training and building a new identity, I started living a double life. William Finch had been looking to amp up his security, and I got hired as a bodyguard in his personal detail. But it wasn't going to be easy to get the evidence I needed. His old bodyguards watched me like a hawk, and I could sense that I didn't have Finch's trust yet. I had to earn it, and my dad's associates and I came up with the perfect plan. Finch had planned to inspect one of his warehouses on the city outskirts one morning, and the route was isolated. As Finch's sleek black car snaked along the road, I was in the SUV directly behind him, alert and ready. A truck barreled toward us from the opposite direction. Why is that truck speeding up? Wait, it's not moving aside. It's headed straight for Mr. Finch's car. As the driver's eyes opened wide with horror, I grabbed the wheel from him, yanking it hard. Our SUV swerved, crashing into Finch's car to knock it off its collision course. The truck missed his car and clipped the tail of our SUV, which went spinning out of control several times before finally coming to a stop. Just then, I saw Finch step out of his car. No, get back in. A bullet pierced the air as I leapt towards Finch. A few more bullets were fired from the truck before it sped away. When I stood up, I noticed my arm was bleeding. It had been grazed by one of the bullets intended for Finch.
Kyle, I think you just saved my life.
That's what I'm here for, sir. I recovered from the injury soon enough. And more importantly, the life-saving mission we had orchestrated had convinced Finch of my loyalty. And this granted me deeper access to his operations. I was by his side all the time now, which meant I was there for important meetings and transactions. And with the undetectable taping devices I had, I was able to record everything. But the most critical phase of my mission meant breaking into Finch's personal office. One night when Finch had retired early, I slipped through the office corridors using a cloned ID card from one of Finch's senior staff that I had arranged beforehand. At his office door, I used a compact lockpicking device that was able to crack the code on the sophisticated lock within seconds, and I slipped in. His desk was a gold mine, a laptop brimming with encrypted files of past arms transactions and shady associates. I inserted a USB drive and started the data transfer. Suddenly, I felt something brush against my ear, and I nearly yelled as I fell back, only to find a fat pigeon on the desk. Oh my God, you stupid pigeon! You nearly gave me a heart attack! Shoo! Go away now! I cracked open the window and tried flying him out, but the pigeon wouldn't budge and just stared back at me. I don't have time for this! Fine, stay here forever. Poop all over Finch's desk while you're at it. The data transfer was almost complete when suddenly I heard footsteps down the hallway. Someone was coming. My heart raced as I waited for the last gigabytes to transfer, and with seconds to spare, I managed to pull out the USB, shut the laptop, and dive behind the desk. The office door creaked open and light spilled in as I recognized one of Finch's senior bodyguards by his boots. He stood completely still, and I felt he could hear me breathe. As he edged closer to the desk, I braced myself to attack him. He was gonna find me any second, and my cover would be blown. Just then, I heard a flapping sound, and the bodyguard yelled out loud. I peeked around the desk to see the fat pigeon circling his head and flapping its wings in his face.
How did this damn bird get in here? Get out of my face!
Just then his radio crackled, and a voice called him to the other side of the mansion, and he cursed the bird some more before leaving. Thank you, I owe you my life. I escaped before the bodyguard returned to deal with the pigeon, and it wasn't until I reached the safety of my room that I was even able to breathe properly. After I'd calmed down, I scrambled to my laptop and plugged in the USB. But as I scanned folder after empty folder, it became painfully clear. Nothing had been saved. Maybe it was a corrupted file system, or even a security measure on Finch's laptop that I hadn't detected. I felt so frustrated, I sent a glass flying into the wall. But I couldn't give up yet. I had to find another way to finish this. And the very next day, Finch briefed us that we were headed to Monaco in 2 days for a pivotal meeting. My father's associates pieced together enough from my previous communications and their own intel to confirm that a major arms deal was taking place. This was it! The evening before the day of the deal, Finch threw a lavish charity gala in Monaco. As I wandered through the crowd, a familiar voice stopped me dead in my tracks.
Kyle, is that you?
I turned around to see Carly, the woman I'd been dating for a month before I went undercover. I'd cut off all contact with her without any explanation. Carly, what are you doing here?
I'm covering the event for Peace on Philanthropy in High Society. Fancy seeing you here, though. I was beginning to think you're a figment of my imagination. You know, because of the way you vanished into thin air.
My heart was caught in my throat. I could feel Finch's gaze on me, and I just couldn't let her blow my cover. I just wasn't that into you. The words felt bitter in my mouth as I saw the hurt in her eyes.
Well, thank you for your honesty. Goodbye, Kyle.
As she walked away, Finch walked up to me and clapped me on the shoulder.
Girl trouble.
Yes, sir. You know how it is. 2 dates and they start planning the wedding. Finch's eyes followed Carly's retreating figure.
Perhaps ask her to the celebration party after tomorrow's deal goes through.
Sure, I'll see what I can do, sir. As Finch laughed and moved away, my thoughts were only on the next day. Enjoy the party while you can, Finch. Tomorrow, you'll be celebrating behind bars. The next day, the arms deal was taking place in a warehouse at the edge of the city, and the air was thick with tension as Finch and his entourage stood waiting. He looked completely calm.
Mr. Finch, a pleasure.
Likewise. Everything is as discussed?
As precise as a Swiss watch. I trust your payment is equally punctual.
You can rest assured, I am a man of... Wait! What's that sound?
Within seconds, the sound of helicopter blades was loud enough for everyone to hear, followed by cars screeching outside.
You're surrounded by the police. Drop your weapons and come out with your hands up.
The men reached for their guns, but before the first shot could ring out, police forces burst through the doors. Amidst the frenzy, I saw Finch step backward onto a concealed slab on the floor. He pressed a device in his hand, and it began descending into the ground. No! Stop Finch! He's getting away! Just then, our eyes locked, a moment of betrayal and realization, and then he vanished into the floor. Hours later, I was informed that Finch had been caught trying to escape by sea, and soon, I found myself facing him again through the bars of his cell, but he looked composed, almost relaxed.
It's true what they say. The strongest punch always comes from behind. But do you really think it ends here?
For you, it really has this time. I know you're in the business of buying your way out of everything, but the proof against you is too strong. All your routes are blocked.
Perhaps. But even in defeat, I grab my victories. And you know how misery loves company. Check your phone, Carl.
I had received a message that hit me like a punch to the gut. A photo of Carly, tied up, her eyes wide with fear, followed by a location pin.
She's in a building about to blow up in 15 minutes. What are you waiting for? Run, Carl. Run!
I'd succeeded in my mission, but I'd failed Carly and lost her forever. In the weeks following Finch's arrest, his extensive network began to crumble under the weight of international law enforcement. Raids across 4 continents dismantled his operations, bringing down associates who had managed to escape the law for decades. And after years of holding onto only hope and postcards, I was able to bring Dad back home. But despite our victories, my head and heart were heavy with thoughts of Carly. One evening, the news of Finch's ongoing trials was buzzing on TV, and I just felt suffocated. I decided to go out for a walk by the river to clear my head, and suddenly, I saw something that made my knees buckle. It was Carly running towards me, and she flung herself straight into my arms. Oh my God, Carly! I can't believe this! You're alive! Are you hurt? What happened? They found someone in the warehouse, but the body was beyond recognition.
I don't know who that was, but I managed to untie my ropes and get out of the building just as it exploded. The impact threw me into the air and I hit my head hard. I woke up in the hospital just a few days ago. No one in Monaco knew who I was. I came back here as soon as I could.
I thought I lost you. I'm so sorry, Carly, for everything. Can you forgive me?
Maybe, but you owe me a lot of explanations by now, and a lot of great dates.
I'm happy to start right away.